Hello, I'm Mrs. Christie and I'm the Head of English at Gate School Durham. What I'd like to talk you through today is just an outline of the A-level English course that we offer here at RAM. As a starting point, I thought we'd look at our results. As you can see on the screen here, that we weigh up very well against national statistics, and we are a growing subject again, with numbers building again each year. And we're looking forward to more and more classes, more and more students joining us again. You can follow us on Twitter at FAM English Department, and on there you can follow some of the activities that we're going through. So I want to start by giving us a walk through the course, the qualifications, and then go on to talk about some of the wider implications of why do English and what that might lead to and what you might like to combine that with. Okay, so this is going to give you a quick overview of the course, so you know exactly what you'd be signing up for if you came along to the A-level induction, etc. You do need entry requirements for the course, and those are a minimum of grade 6s in English literature or language. Literature would be a better indicator exactly of how you'd be able to cope looking at things at an A-level standard. Um, Giving you a quick overview of what we're looking at, we cover the AQA Lit B course. That means that we cover two different types of genre, and then we also do non-exam assessment, which is a coursework piece essentially. So for paper one, we had an option of doing aspects of tragedy or aspects of comedy, and here at Fram we choose to do the aspects of tragedy, and that builds on work that you've done at GCSE, and it helps you to carry forward your learning from that. So everything you've done with Macbeth and everything you've done prior, looking at the aspects of tragedy and what a tragic hero is, etc., all links that into carrying that forward into this module. We then also pick up two other texts that are linked by the tragedy genre. Secondly, we move on to paper two, and within that again there was a choice of elements of crime or elements of social protest. And we chose the social protest with there being such a wealth of literature out there, and also building again on skills that we've been building across the year, across the course even. Then we move on to the non-examined assessment, which is worth 20% of your overall marks. So what we find is we have the two exam papers at the end of year 13. Paper one, is a 2-hour 30-minute closed book exam, and that's followed by probably the next week, paper two, which is a 3-hour open book exam, which looks across the text, looking at social protest writing. And supporting that is the coursework, which I've already said is worth 20% of your overall marks. So what does that look like actually when it comes to studying it? Over year 12, yeah, we look at the tragedy genre, again picking up directly on what students have been studying in year 11 and bringing that forward into the next level. So we cover three texts, Othello being the first one, another Shakespeare text, and then we also look at Death of a Salesman and at Keats's poetry, and a selection of pre-selected ones there in the poetry anthology produced. So that leaves us for the exam looking at year 12. We'd be covering one compulsory essay question on an extract. Now that extract question again echoes the skills that students have looked at GCSE, so those are things that will be pulled forward into this. They then though have an unseen question, and it looks at an aspect of tragedy that's been covered across the whole of the play. And then the final section, section C, is where they write about Death of a Salesman and Keats, and they write a comparative essay looking at those two. Then moving into year 13 is where we pick up the social and protest writing, and the key texts within that are again poetry anthology supplied by the exam board, and we focus on the Tony Harrison poetry within there. And then we go on to study Ibsen's A Doll's House, and looking at that very much from a critical perspective. And then also another element of social protest is in Khaled Hosseini's novel the Kite Runner based in Afghanistan. So all of those pull together into an exam that begins with an unseen extract. So across the course, they're building up skills of how to look for aspects of social and political protest in the literature that they're studying. And that's examined in an unseen exam question. They then move on to do an essay on their choice of question from one of the three texts, and then finally section B, the two texts that they haven't written about so far are examined in a comparative essay in that final section. And then that's all propped up, as we mentioned, with the coursework piece. Now that includes two pieces. The first, we use a shared novel where we all read and teach the same novel, and then students create their own exam question dependent on which of the critical theories they want to apply. So they could, for example, take a feminist perspective, a post-colonial perspective, and looking at things through the lens of that. And there will be a range of different critical theories that we look at. They then decide themselves which poetry collection they want to use to do the second piece. And again, that's up to them, and they negotiate that with the teacher. And the coursework is done very much on a seminar style basis, as you would do if you went on to do A-level. So, So, next steps are thinking, once you've got that A-level in English, what can it do for you? What can it take you, or where can it take you, I should say? So, looking at the skills that you've been developing throughout the course and throughout your career, your school career, that is, following through English, and you've been building up skills that will transfer into any environment, whether it be an academic environment or a workplace environment. So you're building up your communication skills, both written and verbal. You have to be able to put together a reasonable and critical argument. You're building up empathy, and also those skills that are just need to be innate in any other situation. And you're going to be building up independent research skills, learning how to manage your time, how to write in time conditions, how to think quickly and move forward quickly, as well as looking at different perspectives at different points in time. So all of those skills that you've been building up are going to transfer very easily into most other environments. If we think about beyond literature, and you're looking at a university place beyond literature, it's a highly regarded subject, particularly at the Red Brick universities, etc. Because it shows that you've built up the skills that we've just been mentioning. Now, it's an obvious choice to go on and study English or media or to some extent law, and those are excellent career choices that with English would set you up very well in order to push through. But what you're also looking is combining it with history, with the arts, or any of the wider humanities subjects, but also with languages, with business, with education. And some people assume it's not so useful if you're going to go into medicine or sciences, but of course it shows a rounded individual. We have friends of ours who in the department who have gone on to look at recruitment at the university levels, particularly Newcastle University, in the medicine department there. And we know somebody who looked through the applications and has said that it's looked very fondly upon if somebody who's got a list of qualifications in science has also got an English qualification at A-level as well, because that shows them to be a more rounded individual, so they're not just focusing on science, they can also communicate well outside of that. So again, not an obvious choice if you want to go into medicine, but actually a very good choice if that was a career path you were thinking of as well. Thinking about different degrees, etc., and different jobs that move on, taken from that point, the ones that you've got on the screen in front of you now, you can see are kind of obvious choices, looking at media and journalism, looking at publishing, looking at teaching, advertising, public sector law, business. Now we've had students that have gone on to work in all of those areas. We've had some that have gone on to join the armed forces. We've had some that have gone on to be humanitarian lawyers. We've had those working in the media and in advertising who've gone on to work in the film industry in Hollywood. We've had ones who've gone on to do acting in the West End, those who've worked in advertising, one at Saatchi in New York. So we've had students who've gone on and done all kinds of things. And we've had a good number who've gone into teaching as well, and many of them actually work in school at the moment. So it is something that takes you into those career paths. Also, if we look at a few kind of national statistics and thinking about things from that kind of level, we'll see that those who have historically got good qualifications at A level, 80% of those got an A level C or above in English was higher than those in other average subjects. Office of National Statistics as well shows that 85% of students with an arts degree went on to immediate employment directly from university, which was higher than a great number of other subjects. And also looking at salary, entry-level salaries, you're looking at about 20,000 on average for an English graduate, which doesn't seem massively high, but it is going in higher than those where you would think maybe it wouldn't. For example, against architecture, pharmacy, media, psychology. Yeah, so obviously there's a range of reasons why you should come and do English literature here at BRAM. You'd be in a safe place with teachers that you know. Currently the teachers at A level are Mrs. King, Mrs. Rayson, Dr. Smith and Miss Williams. There are teams at the moment and they revolve around year 12 and year 13. So you would certainly be in a safe pair of hands, and we make sure that our students get the best possible results and they have a really good support network around them throughout the course. So we look forward to seeing you here at A level at BRAM. Bye.